In the midway, plus all these great rides. But in a minute, they're moving over into the stadium. It's Monster Truck Racing coming up next on ESPN. Hi everyone, we are at the Cayuga County Fairgrounds outside Syracuse, New York, where tonight it's Monster Truck Racing again, only Army Armstrong, USA 1, and Rod Litzow. They are going to be crippled going into this event.
Well, the last time out, they flipped the truck. 5th time in a year, Richard, chasing these national championship points. Now, Litzow had to do what he had to do. That is, if he's going to retain the national championship, he had to make a move towards the lead for the points chase. He did that with 2 weeks in a row, back-to-back wins. The last win, however, only by 0.02 of a second over Bigfoot. He flipped the truck, and it cost him. He's going to be here tonight for points only.
But then again, you never know. He could have that truck running to win. But I'm going to say right off the bat, Army, it's going to be battle between probably Bigfoot, Awesome Kong, and maybe Carolina Crusher.
Well, you definitely have some players in that list, but I'm going to look at Bigfoot tonight. The reason being, the last time out, USA 1, the Chevrolet, beat Bigfoot, the Ford, by 2/100ths of a second. And believe me, Andy Brass wants to win tonight.
But then again, when you get all these monster trucks together, you never know what could happen or what will happen. But we're going to start the happening here in just a moment with first round action on ESPN.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks.
Monster Truck Challenge, you are about to watch the Major League of Professional Monster Truck Racing from Weedsport, New York, just outside Syracuse, where Army Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, about to make his qualifying run, and we are about to look at the matchups in the first round. It'll be Awesome Kong and Steve CAIN taking on Clydesdale and Bennett Clark.
Yeah, but that next pairing will be a couple of Fords out of New Jersey, the Jersey Outlaw, and out of the volunteer state of Tennessee, John Moore, no problem.
And then we've got a Ford up against a Chevy. Bigfoot with Andy Brass against the hometown hero, Star Monster, and Danny Tassone.
Then John Breen comes out with a Mad Dog, the sprint car-looking Chevrolet. He'll be going up against the Nightlife out of Nebraska.
And we'll wrap it up with Gary Porter, your current national points leader, Carolina Crusher, against the defending Renegades champion, Rowdy Rod Litzow and USA 1. But to kick off first round racing, it'll be Bad News Bennett Clark, the Clydesdale driver out of Powder Springs, Georgia. 32 years of age. He's been in a monster truck over 6 years, taking on the Flying Texan. That is Steve CAIN. Awesome Kong out of Killeen. It'll be kind of a fat Chevy against a skinny Chevy.
Well, there's a little story behind this, Richard. That being the skinny Chevy, Awesome Kong, they found a major problem with the truck. That being there was a stop underneath the throttle linkage. They've been running the Awesome Kong truck, believe it or not, at about half throttle all year long. They took the stop out. Let's see what's going to happen. Whatever it was, Richard Leek, it worked. Look at that Texas truck go out. He's going to advance to the next round. And Georgia Clydesdale not able to put the shot together he needs.
24-year-old Steve CAIN and Awesome Kong will move into the quarterfinals. We're going to move down to the track to get Steve's impression of that race against Bennett.
Steve, you're about 6/10 slower in eliminations you were in qualifying. Is there any difference in the track out there?
Well, during qualifying, I didn't notice it was slick, but that last run out there, it seemed like it, when I landed, it kind of threw me sideways or something, like it was kind of greasy out there.
Had a little problem getting set up for the second jumps in.
Yeah, I sure did.
Now coming up next, it's going to be a couple of Fords head-to-head as they are standing on the rooftops here in Weedsport. John Moore, the No Problem 1989 Ford Bronco out of Lafayette, Tennessee. He is facing Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw. He's from Pensacola, New Jersey. It's an 89 Ford against an 88 Ford.
Well, Mike Wine's a rookie driver on the tour. John Moore's been around this sport for a long time. Al Goss brings him up, holds him on the starting line. Ford's a pair in New York. One thing we saw in the previous race, keep an eye on the second jump and see if the vehicles come off of them straight, Richard.
Good race.
Yeah, real good race, but that second jump is throwing those vehicles a little bit crooked. Notice John Moore's vehicle on the replay. He's banking to the left. Awesome Kong in the previous lane, he kicked off to the right. That may tell a story a little bit later. Let's keep an eye.
But the winner was John Moore, No Problem, as he goes on into the quarterfinals. What is that, Army?
What it is, it's just a liquid overflow. The engine got hot, no problem. Moore will be back. Whoa, speaking of being back, look who's coming to the line now, Richard Lee.
That is Andy Brass, the driver of Bigfoot out of St. Louis, Missouri, and he is taking on the hometown hero, the Star Monster, Danny Tassone out of Syracuse. Interesting story about Danny. He is a grocery store owning, monster truck driving star, and earlier today, Army took a visit with Danny Tassone.
Dan Tassone is a very successful businessman in the field of groceries and produce in Central New York. Very successful business and also a monster truck racer. Tell me the correlation between the two and how in the world did you get into the monster truck sport, Dan?
Well, we purchased this farm probably when I was about 10 years old. Had all kinds of big equipment and more or less fascinated me, and I started seeing the monster trucks come out. It was early when they started coming out, and when I was 16 years old, we had a 4x4. We kept building up bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally just built the truck into a monster truck.
There's no way at this point in time that you can run a business and also run the monster truck. You got to have a lot of help. Can you tell us about any other people that are involved in this program with you?
I've got my father, my mother, my 2 sisters, and my brother. I mean, they're hustling when I'm out on the road. I've got a welder, great welder, Danny Freegan. Dan's Welding from Mexico, New York. If anything's broke, it comes out to the shop, and everything's done by the time I'm ready to leave, and it's great. Body man, same thing, Dave Elger. And
okay, now those are fellas that are involved with the maintenance of your truck, but also you're involved with building other trucks for other people, we understand. Not only monster trucks, but just a lot of different tall trucks for the fellas around the New York State.
Yeah, we're known in the area. I mean, if anyone has any questions as far as four-wheel drive stuff, they come to us, and a lot of times we help them out and do the truck for them, build it up.
Boy, he has really got a nice setup. And Army, looking at his truck, you can tell he's involved in the grocery business.
Yeah, Richard, he runs a Folgers flag and Shasta Cola on the side of it, so you can tell he's in that business. But right now, he's got his hands full with big blue Ford truck in the left lane.
Trouble at the starting line.
Yeah, he had a late leave on the starting line. Bigfoot's going to catch. Whoa, that end ramp again, Richard. That's starting to spook me. Look how they're getting cocked over. That's the 3rd run that we've had in eliminations, and nobody's gone over that finish line straight.
But the big news is Bigfoot advances to the quarterfinals. Danny Tassone takes it back to the pit area, perhaps another day, another time. When we come back, more great first-round action straight ahead on ESPN. The Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. We are midway through the first round of side-by-side racing. Our next matchup features the Mad Dog of John Breen out of Barnett, Missouri, taking on the Nightlife Chevrolet, Dave WIECZOREK from Grand Island, Nebraska. Dave, the monster truck champion at the big, giant Houston Astrodome event this year.
Yeah, he won the big one indoors, and he's had a little problem putting it together on the outdoor circuit. He's definitely a player. Is just getting the right brakes at the right time. Horsepower for horsepower, the Nightlife is just as strong as any truck on the circuit. But for some reason, something always seems to go wrong with it. Driver notorious for running with his head out the window. It's a good side-by-side race. WIECZOREK holds on again, lifts a little bit at the finish line. We need to get with these guys and find out what's causing those trucks to get thrown like that.
See if you can grab Dave WIECZOREK down on the track as he gets out of his truck. WIECZOREK advances in the Nightlife to the quarterfinals. We're going to go down to Army to find out about this track and its condition on all these monster trucks.
Dave, nobody's landing flat. Everybody's landing on their left or the right. What causing that?
Well, on this lane here, it's on a slope, and when you're running this direction we are, it's throwing you towards the inside of the track. And so the higher lane, which would be the right lane, has a disadvantage to the lower lane.
Now our next matchup ought to be a dandy on paper. That would be Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter out of Weedsport, North Carolina, up against Rod Litzow in USA 1 out of Breezy Point, Minnesota. However, the last time Rod Litzow raced, Army, he flipped that truck over, serious damage.
You know, we noticed when he and his mechanic, Steve Wilkie, came in, they had what we used to call in Vietnam a 1,000-meter look. That's a look of intensity that's just hard to explain, and you don't mess with a guy that has that look on his face because they're serious.
Well, earlier this afternoon, we spent some time with Steve Wilkie, the crew chief for USA 1, talking to him about putting this truck all back together.
The last time we had an opportunity to see USA 1, he was in kind of a strange position. He was upside down. Rod Litzow was driving the truck at that time. Then the man standing to my right took over. Steve Wilkie, the crew chief for USA 1, this is when you earn your pay. Can you tell us what exactly you've been doing in order to get this truck back in competition?
Well, when we rolled it over, it took the Predator carburetors out this time, Army. The other times we had been upside down, it didn't hurt the motor. And so we've had to go back to the boss in Minneapolis, and he's had to call the 1-800 Predator there and get us a set of carburetors sent out to us.
What about the other damage to the truck?
Well, it's really not very bad. Sheet metal, the roll cage is pushed down a little bit. The batteries got thrown around in the back, but it's pretty minor. The frame is okay. The drive system is fine.
Steve, why is it so important that you get back in tonight's race?
Well, the thing is the national points. That's our whole object throughout the year, is to chase these national points and to become a national champion. It's my job to keep the truck underneath Rod, and it's Rod's job to win the national title. I'm kind of behind the scenes, but if I don't do my job, Rod can't get his done.
Now, looking at the damage on USA 1, I say let's go ahead and give the win to Carolina Crusher, Army.
Well, I tell you, they're not going to roll over and die for anybody. And somebody that Steve didn't mention in that, there's a lot of guys, about 5 guys back in the shop that do a tremendous amount of work on that truck, too. But Steve and Rod are the ones that go on the road with it, and they do an awfully good job. Points leader in the far lane. Points chaser in the near lane. Look at this. Look at this, Richard. Whoa.
I do not believe it. USA 1 has got the win, and that is definitely an upset. Rowdy Rod Litzow coming back in a crippled truck takes the win over Gary Porter.
Steve, it was worth it, I guess, wasn't it?
It's always worth it. We do it for the fun, True Value, and Chevrolet, and the fans over here. I'll tell you what, we worked all day, and this is the man here.
Rod, everybody's looking at you now. He had to get you back in the race. He did his job. It's up to you. And you're getting quicker. Is that because you got confidence back in the truck?
Well, my first run there at qualifying, I was just trying to feel the truck out, but now I know what the truck is going to do, and I know what I can do out here, so it's going to get faster and faster. Steve does good back there. I said, I'll get my body together, you get my truck together, I'll go out and do my job. He did his, and now I'm out here doing it.
Now the quiet air of confidence surrounding Rod Litzow and USA 1. Will he win it all? We'll find out with more action straight ahead on ESPN. And welcome back to the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge from the Cayuga County Fairgrounds, Weedsport, New York, outside Syracuse. It is quarterfinal action time. Bigfoot, Andy Brass against Mad Dog and John Breen. It's the Ford against the Chevrolet.
Both drivers out of the state of Missouri. One picks the Chevrolet for his horsepower. The other one picks the Ford. They're sitting side by side in New York. Let's see who's going to advance to the next round. It should be a pretty close round. Whoa, a good hole shot by Andy Brass and Bigfoot. Look at this. Now he starts to come back on the inside, but Mad Dog not to be the lay of the event. Bigfoot's going to take that big win.
And get this race time. Andy Brass just ran 7.16 seconds. That is one of the quickest times of the entire evening. So Bigfoot moves on into the semifinals. We're going trackside with Army.
Andy, a 7.16 on a much smoother run.
Yeah, that was a lot smoother. We tried a little bit different on the track. We moved over a little bit and then tried something new off the line. Instead of letting out of it, we kind of stayed in it this round.
Oh, we have an interesting story developing in the pit area. That is Mike Wine, the driver of the Jersey Outlaw. But as you can see, Army, he has been injured and is not going to drive his truck.
What happened, Richard, on a previous run against No Problem, the steering wheel spun on him when the front wheels hit, and it bent 2 of his fingers completely back against his wrist. Now, the EMTs have wrapped it to help him get through this evening. He's going to be going to the hospital, but right now he's trying to get points with his truck, and Bennett Clark's doing the driving for him.
Now that's interesting. Bennett Clark, the driver of Clydesdale, which is a Chevrolet, he is driving into a Ford now, a Ford that on the back of it says, "Friends, don't let friends drive Chevys," and here we go.
I just thought of it. That is kind of interesting. But right now, with that light went green and all that friendship stuff goes out the window, they're trying to put wind under their belt. What's going to happen? Not going to do it. A good run for a fellow that's never driven that truck before. But the kid out of Nebraska, the gentle giant of this sport, moves into the next round.
So the victory goes to Dave WIECZOREK in Nightlife, but a nice effort by Bennett Clark as he fills in for the injured Mike Wine.
What did the truck feel like to you?
Well, the truck is a little bit different than mine. Mine's a little longer wheelbase. It felt a little sluggish off the line, but it ran good on the straights, jumped good. But it's just hop in it and go. I was just trying to help the fella out.
Well, thanks a lot. A lot of good sportsmanship right there. So one driver helping another driver, but right now the driver that's going to advance into the next round through a win category, Chevrolet, looking good, is going to stay in the right lane.
I believe so if I have a choice.
Okay, now, what does the choice come down to?
Qualifying. A lot of the guys qualified a lot faster than me tonight because I was first truck out. So I think I qualified like 9, and I'll probably be at their mercy. They'll put me wherever they want. But I've ran both lanes tonight, so it really don't matter to me which one I go in.
And now we've got a rematch of round one action as Crusher, Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter back up against Rod Litzow on USA 1. Can he do it again?
I'll tell you, this is a lot of pressure on the Carolina Crusher. He's your national points leader. Litzow's trying to pull in on him. And a moment ago in an interview, Carolina Crusher said, whatever it takes, I'm going to try to put the USA 1 truck away. But Litzow's not to be denied. Look at this. He is literally attacking the truck. I've never seen anything like it. He's almost possessed to win this event.
An unbelievable run. Get this time. 6.85 seconds to the winner, USA 1.
Rod, a 685, and Porter said he wanted to get a hold of you. I don't think he's going to be that confident the next time y'all go head-to-head.
Yeah, I know. You know, he came out for the last round and thought, I was going to run a little slower, but I surprised him on that one. So I knew he was a little more ready for this one. So I pushed the truck a little bit more. Every time I run tonight, I'll push it a little hard. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting a nice bounce off the first set of cars, and I hooked up a little crooked on that last one, but it pulls out real nice.
And we are ready next for a battle, as here you see the Paul Newman-looking eyes of Rod Litzow. I ought to tell him about that, Arm.
I'll tell you what, we told you about the stare they had when they came in. It was almost like there was something eerie about them. Well, they keep moving forward, and they were just going to be here for points. Speaking of points, this guy's trying to battle his weapon in the points race right now.
Awesome Kong and Steve CAIN from Texas against the Ford No Problem and John Moore.
CAIN working the left side. Yeah, CAIN, we told you CAIN found a major problem in the truck, and it looks like that has definitely brought that truck to life. He's going quicker tonight than we've seen him in a long time.
So Awesome Kong advances into the semifinals. John Moore, he is going to come around to the pit area and park it for the night, perhaps get another win another time. We're going to be back in just a moment, as it's just about time for the semifinals and the finals. Who will be the baddest beast of all in New York? We'll find out in a moment on ESPN.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.
Time for the semifinals. Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leek, along with Army Armstrong. The Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, as you see, the crippled and damaged USA 1 of Rowdy Rod Litzow ready to do battle against Dave WIECZOREK in the nightlife. The winner goes to the championship.
Well, WIECZOREK has moved over to the right lane. He said that doesn't bother him. The quick qualifying time, USA 1. The truck that wasn't even supposed to be here. Look at that. I just can't believe it. He's working so smooth. The whole truck just seems to be dialed in on his track.
And get this, winning race time as the USA 1 gets the victory. Again, Army, he runs at 6.85 seconds. That equals the time he ran in the last race. Puts him in the championship. He has got to be pumped up.
Rod, a 685, and I can tell you are pumped up tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It's, you get that feeling. I told you before, and I got that feeling on this track. Truck's hooking up good. Everything feels great out here. I'm going to go for it all the way.
Okay, you will not have lane choice no matter who you go against. Awesome Kong going against Bigfoot. Whoever wins that race is going to have lane choice. Does that make any difference right now, or have you accepted in your mind this is your night to win?
I've already accepted that, and I'm going here to win.
The confidence of Rod Litzow as we get ready next for Bigfoot and Andy Brass taking on the Flying Texan, Steve CAIN, and Awesome Kong. Army, I know you grabbed Steve just a moment ago.
Steve CAIN, you're going against Bigfoot in the semis. Who has lane choice in this round?
I do.
Where are you going to be?
I believe I'm going to take this bottom row.
Okay, now he's been running out of that lane all night long. Are you doing that because it's quicker or just to put him on a different track?
No, I just got through running that track, and I feel that it's a little bit better of a track. Plus, it was kind of confusing him a little bit, I know.
So Steve CAIN using a little psychology as an advantage here. He is lined up, ready to go. Army, you got a winner in this one?
I'll tell you what, this battle goes back a long way. Bob Chandler started Bigfoot. Jeff Dane started Awesome Kong. They've been at each other's throats for years and years. Second generation driver. Let's find out who's going to move into the next round. No, it's going to be a toss-up, believe me. It's going to be a war. You can bet on that.
No love lost between these two guys, and we've got a great race. I don't know.
I can't tell from my viewpoint.
There it is.
Yeah, all right.
Bigfoot wins it. Bigfoot will take on USA 1 for the championship tonight. Army, if you could, let's ask Andy what lane he's going to take.
You got lane choice. Where are you going to be?
I don't know. I might try running the right lane tonight. We've been running the left all night, but we pulled fast time in the right tonight, so we might try it again.
The truck seems still not to be landing on all fours. You're having to do a whole lot of driving up there to keep this thing going, aren't you?
Yeah, we are tonight. I was talking with a few of the other drivers tonight, and they said the right lane was throwing them, but Awesome, he had lane choice over me, and he picked the left lane thinking that maybe me going in the right lane would mess me up, but it kind of helped me out.
Well, Army, if you can hear me trackside, is there a good and a bad lane, do you think?
I don't think in the racing part of it. The landing part, yeah, you got some problems on both tracks. Nobody's going straight, but the launches are good, the tracks are good. I look for a good final, Richard.
Well, that's coming up next, but first, it's time for our question of the week. And this question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge comes to us from Greg Smith of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And Greg wants to know what exactly is a buy run and when do they occur? I have with me Al Goss. Al is the official starter for the TNT Motorsports crew. And Al, what is a buy run?
A buy run is a product of an uneven number of competitors in a round. And a buy run is a single run in competition which awards the buy run runner a win. And that is the only round of competition we run a buy run.
All right, what would happen if a monster truck comes to the starting line and the competitor fails to show up? Does he get a buy run?
No, in our rules we have a time element built in that if a truck pulls to the line, he is ready to run. The clock is then started and the time element comes into play. If his competitor or competition does not show up within a certain time, then a fast loser will be brought forth, and he has 5 minutes to get ready for competition. There are no buy runs after first round of competition in TNT Motorsports.
Okay, so you can see when it comes to monster truck racing with the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, it's always side-by-side racing with the exception of possibly in the first round, and that would only happen once. And if you have a question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky 40228. If we use one of your questions on a future ESPN broadcast, we'll send you free a TNT Motorsports hat. And now we crown the king of Crunch Car Racing. USA 1, Rob Litzow, the Chevrolet against Bigfoot, Andy Brass, and the Ford. It's war.
And Bigfoot put him over into the lane he's not familiar with. USA 1's going off the right lane for the first time tonight. Bigfoot working the inside to perfection. Good run at half track. USA 1 first to move, Richard.
USA 1, Rob Litzow smokes him at the finish line. Rowdy Rob Litzow, crippled truck and all, gets the win. This is his third win in a row.
3 in a row. Nobody's done that so far this year.
I know. It feels excellent, man. You know, we worked out so hard. When you work so hard, you just push that much more. You want that truck to win, and it just performed perfect tonight. The truck has been running excellent. You know, we just made it work, running with 2 carburetors, and it's surprising what it did, but it's good.
So congratulations to the defending Renegades National Champion Rob Litzow for the win tonight, but also way to go to Crew Chief Steve Wilkie and all the guys back at the USA 1 Racing Shop. They get the win in Weedsport. On behalf of Army Armstrong and all the folks at TNT Motorsports, I'm Richard Leek saying we'll see you again soon on the tracks across America.